We are live. How are you? Yes, I'm using my laptop today, so we got a real different look. It's great to be here. I want to tell you guys thank you very much. I posted yesterday at 2:30 instead of 1 o'clock. Had a big webinar that we did at 1 o'clock. 2:30, you guys can check it. Brent Dover, Dr. Brent Dover from KBMO. We were talking about, yes, the finger sticks, and that finger stick is for that or antibody test. So we now have them. So if anybody's interested, you can just, stick your finger, prick your finger, if you will, put the blood down. You do not have to have a phlebotomist. They are extremely accurate. And we're sending out an email to all my patients right now so they're able to procure those. So I'm excited about that. Again, Dr. Dover did a great job. We had a three-way call with Dr. Dover, myself, and Dr. Mike Powell, who's part of Creator Chiropractic in Medford, Oregon. And after this, I'm probably going to be going on about a half hour after we're done, and I'll be going on an 8-week to wellness with my good friend, Dr. Dane Donahue. So I'm excited about that. We're going to actually talk about what I do in my office and walk his docs through what I do that I feel is very unique to seeing different patients, musculoskeletal, functional medicine, and a concussion patient. Today, great stuff I saw yesterday. It's, if you will, music to my heart or music to my gut, if you will. And here we have it. The name of the title of the article was Diet and Gut Health are Crucial Modifiable Risk Factors in the Corona Severity. So now we're talking about it. So let's go through some of these takeaways. The gentleman who made the COVID symptom track app. Interestingly enough, he predicted that diet and nutrition will soon be recognized as an essential element of immunity and a big modifiable risk factor in the fight against coronavirus. So diet, wow. So here we are. It's something that I've been talking about for years. It makes me feel real good that diet and gut health is critical for the modifiable risk factors. So we talked a lot about comorbidities, and those comorbidities are on Wednesday. We really spoke to them to the extent of obesity was a critical comorbidity for hospitalization for people between 18 and 64. Over 64, 65, and over hypertension. So the big modifiable risk factors, or if you will, comorbidities to start, were obesity, hypertension, CVD, and diabetes. And believe it or not now, autoimmune. So there are 5. They're all in reference. All of these I used to tie into obesity, but he did it for me. He said it first. Everything goes back to your overall gut health. So let's take you back to what I call my Dr. Rob's gut matrix. And in that matrix, I have this picture of this person, and I have a picture, and that is really showing the gut. So your gut health is critical. Why? 80% of your immune cells are in your gut. It's where your macro and micronutrients are absorbed. Your small intestine is the critical element in your gut health. It's about 90% of the length of your whole intestinal tract, your whole gut. It's a misnomer. The reason they call it small is its diameter is only 1 inch, whereas the large intestine, which is only 5 to 10% of the length, its diameter is 2.5 inches. So it's small in reference diameter to the large intestines. That's how it was named. In addition, it's a single layer epithelial cell. It has the thickness of a wet paper towel. When you unravel it, it has the surface area of a tennis to a basketball court. Whereas it's that single layer is in the small intestine. The large intestine has 3 layers thick. So also they spoke about it not only in diameter when it was named, but also in thickness. The purpose of the small intestine is to absorb digested food, particles, water, and nutrients like vitamins and minerals and allow it to be absorbed and go to the bloodstream. And if that's the case, all is really healthy about that. In addition to that, the large intestine, when damaged, has a major problem on overall health. You see a lot of IBS, a lot of IBD. It can actually cause SIBO in the small intestine. We're not going to get that far. So when your gut is too permeable, it should be semi-permeable. When it becomes too permeable, things pass that shouldn't, like undigested food particles, bacteria, yeast, fungus, and viruses. So they pass, they go into your bloodstream. When you have that happen, we call that leaky gut. Now they can leak through the intestinal tract or something. Here's your gut. Here's a perfectly pristine gut where it's semi-permeable. Now we're going to show you with my hands, leaky gut. Opens up. Things pass through that couldn't pass before. You also have damage to something called a tight junction. Boop, opens up. Those junctions are tight. Now we call them loose junctions, and they're open up. And then finally, you have damage at the epithelial cell lining, really bad. There's the rip, the epithelial cell lining. So you have a barrage of toxins that can come through that perforated gut area. And that's not uncommon. That can be common in some people. So that filter, if you will, your gut filter is too permeable. Just think of when you're, I don't do a lot of cooking, but when you're filtering, what's the thing there that you put the food in and the water comes through, but it holds the food?
Coriander? No, a sieve.
A sieve. So think of the sieve. The water is supposed to go through. When the hole's in the sieve, the food goes through. That's the problem. That's the metaphor I like to use. Now, when that happens, your immune system gets turned on. We talked about that. We have an innate, an adaptive, and acquired immune system, and all, if you will, hell breaks loose. Nevertheless, damage to the gut can lead to many different conditions like obesity. The literature really speaks very robustly to that. If you have leaky gut, think you're more inflamed, you're not able to absorb food. When you're not able to absorb food, 60% digestion, people in America have problems with digestion. When you're not able to absorb the digest food, you need to eat more. So if you eat more calories, more stored calories, not absorbing calories, leads you down a path of obesity. With that being said, how about the concept of prediabetes, blood sugar, and diabetes? Direct paper correlations in damage to the gut, leading you down a path of increased incidence of prediabetes and diabetes. And we've also delineated and detailed in full detail that the gut bacteria, our microbiome, is critical to overall hypertension, pre-hypertension, or no hypertension outcomes. Good biodiversity of bacteria, no hypertension, a change in the biodiversity and the decrease between good and bad bacteria. So when we call bad bacteria overriding good bacteria, we call that dysbiosis. You need 85% good bacteria to put off all the bad bacteria. It's not a 50-50 split. Hypertension. Gut, when it's too permeable, puts a lot of pressure and toxins on the liver. We've also seen when the gut is damaged, it can also damage musculoskeletal, gut to brain, and the big one, gut to lung. So, if we can segue back in to the concept, if the gut is leaky, what can happen? Higher incidence of obesity. And most of the time you have damage to the gut because of a bad diet, because of a bad lifestyle and such. Once again, permeable gut, leaky gut, increase obesity, increase diabetes, increase the chance of CVD, leaky gut, leaky heart, LPS, lipopolysaccharide, which is something that holds gram-negative bacteria on the inside of the intestinal wall. When it's expressed, it's an endotoxin, meaning it's toxic coming from the inside. Inflammation, 3 times the incidence of heart attack when you have the expression of LPS. So now you have your CVD. So in addition, autoimmunity. Now, I think the bulk of the autoimmunity comes from the fact that you may have a leaky gut. So when your gut's leaky, your adaptive immune system comes in, overworks, and starts to attack specific structures like your own body, like your fingers, like your thyroid, and such. Autoimmunity, your body attacking itself because it's on override. And I want you to keep the concept of your immune system on override. We know if our immune system doesn't work well, we can have, with COVID-19, a cytokine storm. Because if it doesn't work well, we're not able to ameliorate the pathogen, and that poses an issue. However, when we're overreactive, and we're going to get to that concept in a minute, when we're overreactive, it can be equally as bad. So having said all that, now we realize that obesity really segues into the leaky gut. When you come in my office, one of the first things I talk about is your gut health. What have you done for your guts lately? Do you have the guts to be healthy? So that is something that I hone in on. That's a centerpiece of your overall health. This gentleman, Professor Tim Spector, who was doing the app, he hit the nail on the head, if you will. So he also spoke about diet and gut health could have a massive impact on virus symptom severity. That's correct, because if 80% of cells are in your immune system are in your gut, that's a huge takeaway. In addition, he spoke about the idea it's probably more than 30%, the loss of sense of smell. In his app, it was much higher. Loss of sense of smell and taste Huge takeaway towards COVID-19 as a symptom. In addition, people that have a leaky gut, he theorized, have an unstable metabolism. We had talked about at the beginning of the week, only 12% of Americans have a stable metabolism. Not enough, clearly. Poor diet is also an issue, and ultimately you get a compromised microbiome. You put those three together, they're all critical for immunity. So we want to create a good, healthy gut to improve your immunity. He also spoke about the concept of microbiome maintenance, how good gut health could tackle COVID-19. He highlighted recent research in the goal's role in the immune response. So essentially, he said it's not just gut to lungs, which was a huge concept. I spoke to a lot of functional medicine docs, a huge concept in the gut to lungs. It was beyond that. He thought it was not only gut to lungs, but to all vital organs. And he's right, because you get an overload of toxins that come through your gut, they go to your liver. Remember, where do they go? They go into your bloodstream. So they circulate throughout the body. The circulatory system is a system that goes through the body. So he likes the idea of supporting immune function versus boosting immune function. And we know that bacteria modulate the levels of immunity in the gut. So let me talk about that a little bit. We've used before the idea of boosting the immune system. If it's overactive, that's a problem also. You want to support it. You want it to support it, and you want to balance it. Because if it supported your immune system in balance, then you have proper modulation of immune cells. In addition to that, it'll give you a better chance of a theme that I spoke about before from Dr. Jeffrey Bland on immunorejuvenation. So we want to, if you hear immune boosting this, I don't like those words. I like immune supporting. The concept is critical. It is correct. It is one that we all want to adhere to, and we want to talk about. So how do we get immune balance or immune support? Real simple. All health begins in the gut, as Hippocrates once said. So you start with a good quality diet. This is all from Professor Tim Spector. It wasn't just me. This is his. We sound like we're in stereo, if you will. Everything starts with a good, healthy diet. Good food, no gluten, no dairy, no starch, no sugar, no processed foods, no fried foods, no foods that you're allergic to. Nothing better than you can test for now than foods you may be allergic to, because if you're eating them, your inflammation is too high. And right now, if any time more in our life's history, we've wanted to manage and modulate the level of inflammation, meaning we don't ever want it to go too high, and we want it to resolve. So that's managing, modulating inflammation. Said that, interesting, some other things that he spoke about were exercise, because exercise is able you to get the good biodiversity in your gut, sleep, hydration, and some certain supplements. And those supplements were really easy. They were prebiotics and they were probiotics. Probiotic, pro-life. Good bacteria. Hard to get in food, easy to get in supplementation. In addition, prebiotics you can get in supplementation. You can also find them vastly in foods like leeks, garlic, onions, Jerusalem artichoke, fiber. The best supplemental prebiotic is XOS. So now you have a prebiotic feeding the needed probiotic, giving life, ultimately leaving what we like to refer to as a postbiotic. What's left? The remnants that's left is the health. And those remnants typically are something called short-chain fatty acids. And short-chain fatty acids like butyrate are a great choice for overall health. So I was going to keep this a little bit more succinct, and I hope that I did it this time. I see some conversations in here. Let me see if I can get this moving. Hey, Mike, pleasure to see you. So happy you could make it. I thought you were on a tea time. Hey, Erin Mitchell, great. Let me hit you with a like. And thank you for touching on this. I agree with you. It is not talked enough about. We don't speak about the gut enough. We don't speak about the gut enough in immune function. We're so locked into some of these other vitamins, and we should be. The vitamins are critical. Don't misunderstand me. Having said that, in reference and in addition to gut health is a critical element. Mike Powell giving a shout out to the boss. And let's give a double like to that. And let me know where you are. Feel free to reach out. I know that we surprised you today because we were late yesterday. And I'd like to close up by saying what I started with. We now are able to get you, if you need it, the Fingerstick Test, so you can test your antibodies. We've got a lot of results back. The results are all over the board. There are people who thought they had it. They were sick for 4 weeks, did not have any antibodies. The conversation is growing. Everybody wants their antibody test. I can't blame them. As you guys all know, I took mine. I was negative for IgM and IgG. I'm probably going to take the Fingerstick just to match it up, make everybody happy. I'm having a great time. It's Friday. Please, if you have any questions, share those questions. I'm going to answer any questions that you may have. Let us know what you want us to talk about next week. As you all know, Monday to Friday, 1 to 1:30 approximately is the time that we're going to be talking. So big shout out to my good friend Asher Allen. We were talking this morning. I don't want him to think that I overlooked him. Big shout out to all our sponsors. I'm sorry.
What food is good for probiotics, pickles, and fermented food?
What food is good for probiotics, pickles, and fermented food? Absolutely. The answer to that is yes, fermented food without question. By the way, tofu, not a good food.
But isn't that prebiotic?
Those are prebiotics. The fermented foods were prebiotics. Did I say probiotics inadvertently?
Yes.
Yeah, my mistake. Let me recant. Let me reset in that prebiotics are fermented foods.
How do you know which brand of supplements to buy?
How do you know which brand? That's a great question. How do I know which brand of supplements to buy? And the most expensive vitamin you'll ever purchase is the one that doesn't work. And that's the problem with the supplement field. There's you can go into vitamin this or G this or whatever you go, hold this. And the problem is a lot of people just look at the label and think the label, you're matching label to label. And you can't, because what's on the label isn't always in the bottle. And that poses an issue. So someone like me does business with a select few to a few more, if needed, companies. And the only companies I do business with that I know are third-party certified, have a good FDA report card, and I've seen their lab, and they've shown me all the above things, and I have a working relationship. So when people say I can get something $2 cheaper, you may, but you're not getting the doctor, and you're not getting what the doctor has researched. And believe me, most of the doctors who partake in functional medicine, functional nutrition, do a lot of research to the quality and care, not of just the formulation of the ingredients, and making sure the formulation is synergistic to allow you your best health outcome. So guys, DM me. I'll tell you how to, the companies I like, and I'll set you up if you're a practitioner. Are we good?
Yes.
Fabulous. Guys, it's been my pleasure. A little shorter today. I'm excited about being here. We'll be back on Monday, 1 o'clock. As always, Dr. Rob, always yours in health.